My brother's face. That's the first thing I see. Not his usual smirk, the one that always made me feel small, stupid. No, this is different. His jaw is slack, eyes wide, a funny strangled noise caught in his throat. He looks like he's seen a ghost. In a way, he has. He's staring at the auctioneer, then at the giant screen displaying the Celestial Dragon Onyx Edition trading card, then back to the auctioneer. The gavel comes down with a sharp crack, a sound that echoes the breaking of something inside him. $2.3 million, dollars, the auctioneer booms, and Ryan, my dear brother Ryan, looks like he might faint. He sold that card, my card, 15 years ago for a measly 50 bucks. Good old Ryan, always looking out for family. The memory fades, replaced by a crushing weight on my chest. I'm older now, 34 in this fleeting vision of my first life. The cheap linoleum of my tiny apartment floor is cold against my cheek. Bills, so many bills, are scattered around me like fallen leaves after a storm. Regret is a bitter taste in my mouth. My collection, my beautiful, pristine Mythic Realms cards, gone. Sold for a pittance by a brother who promised to help, then helped himself. The irony isn't lost on me even as the darkness closes in. A heart attack, the doctor will say. I say it was a broken heart, shattered by years of what-ifs and if-onlys. Then, a gasp. Not a dying gasp, but a sharp, sudden intake of air. My eyes fly open. I'm small. My hands, they're tiny. I'm in my childhood bedroom, the one with the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Sunlight streams through the window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. My chest aches, a phantom pain from a death I haven't actually died yet. And there, on my desk, stacked neatly in their protective sleeves, are my cards. My Mythic Realms collection. Mint condition, every single one of them. The Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition, the Starfire Phoenix, the Abyssal Leviathan. All the cards that I know, with a certainty that chills me to the bone, will be worth millions in the future. I'm back, I whisper, my voice a child's. But my mind, oh, my mind is anything but. It's filled with the knowledge of 34 years, of betrayal, of regret, and now, of an impossible second chance. A slow smile spreads across my face. And this time, I know exactly what these cards are worth. My gaze drifts towards the hallway, in the direction of Ryan's room. This time, I'll let him sell them. But I'll make damn sure he pays for every single one. The game, dear brother, has just been reset, and this time I know all the rules. My head spins. I push myself up, my small 12-year-old limbs feeling foreign yet familiar. The posters on my wallboy bands I'd long forgotten cheesy movie taglines. They're all here. I scramble off the bed, my bare feet hitting the worn patches of the rug. My reflection in the dresser mirror confirms it. 12 years old. Pigtails. A gap between my front teeth. I run to my desk, snatching up the calendar. October 17th, 2005. It's real. I'm really back. My fingers, now small and nimble again, tremble as I pick up the first binder of my Mythic Realms collection. I flip through the plastic sleeves, my adult knowledge overlaying the childhood memories. This shadow lurker, common now, will see a small spike in value due to a niche tournament deck in 2012. This Forest Guardian, seemingly unremarkable, will be reprinted with new art, making the original print a collector's item, and then the big ones. The Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition, tucked away in its own hard case even back then. I remember pulling it from a booster pack, the sheer, unadulterated joy of it. Ryan had been there. He'd whistled a low, impressed sound. Wow, May May, that one looks cool. Cool. He had no idea. None of us did. A wave of nausea hits me as another memory surfaces, sharp and unwelcome. I'm 13 in this one. Ryan, older, more persuasive, is looming over me. Come on, Maya, he'd said, his voice oozing fake concern. These are just silly cards. We need the money. Mom's stressed about the bills. This will help the family. Help the family. Right. I remember the hollow feeling as I watched him walk away with the first box. He'd given Mom a fraction of what he made, pocketing the rest for a new gaming console, for nights out with his friends. He told me the cards weren't worth much, that I was lucky to get anything for them. He called them childish, just pieces of cardboard. Liar. Maya, breakfast. Mom's voice. My breath catches. Mom. In my first life, she was diagnosed with cancer when I was 16, gone by 18. The pain of that loss, even after all those years, is a raw, open wound. I stumble out of my room, drawn by the sound of her voice, the smell of pancakes, her special recipe, the one with a hint of cinnamon. She's standing at the stove, humming softly. Her hair, still dark and thick, is pulled back in a messy bun. She turns, a smile lighting up her face when she sees me. There's my sleepyhead. And then I break. Sobs rack my small body, tears streaming down my face. I run to her, burying my face in her apron, inhaling the scent of her, of home, of a life I thought was lost forever. Maya, honey, what's wrong? Her hand is on my back, rubbing soothing circles. Concern clouds her eyes. Did you have a bad dream? I can't tell her. How could I? That I've lived and died and come back. That I know the future, a future where she's not in it for long enough? I just shake my head, clinging to her. Just missed you, I mumble, the words inadequate yet profoundly true. She holds me for a long moment, her embrace a comfort I haven't felt in years. Well, I'm right here, sweetie. Always. Then, the creak of a floorboard. Ryan. He shuffles into the kitchen, 15 years old, all gangly limbs and that infuriating smirk already in place. What's up with Crybaby? He asks, reaching for the orange juice. Ryan, be nice, Mom scolds gently. He ignores her, turning his attention to me. Hey, May, can I borrow your bike later? Mine's got a flat. He ruffles my hair, a gesture that in my first life I found endearing, but now, knowing what I know, feels calculated, a means to an end. He's already a master manipulator, even at this age. I pull away, wiping my eyes. No, I say, my voice surprisingly firm. Ryan blinks, surprised. I always said yes. What? Why not? Because I said so, I reply, meeting his gaze. The smirk falters for a split second. Good. I look at him, really look at him. This boy, this teenager, will grow into a man who will exploit his own sister's passion, her trust, for a few quick bucks. He'll watch her struggle, never offering a hand, never acknowledging the treasures he so casually discarded. But not this time. This time, I'm not the naive little girl. I'm a woman with a lifetime of his deceit etched into her memory. The plan begins to form, sharp and clear. In my past life, he chipped away at my resolve, convincing me to sell card by card, making me feel foolish for holding on to them. This time, the narrative will be different. He wants to sell them? Fine, let him. But it will be on my terms. Every sale documented, every penny accounted for, and a contract. Oh yes, there will be a contract. Later that night, long after the house is quiet, I'm at my desk. The glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling cast faint, ethereal patterns. My collection is spread out before me. I have a new notebook, a cheap one from the grocery store, but it will serve its purpose. I begin to catalog each card, name, edition, condition, and, most importantly, its future potential. Mythic Realms, Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition, Condition Mint. Current estimated value by clueless teenagers, $20.50. Future auction value, $2.3 million and rising. I write with a meticulousness that surprises even myself. A small, almost giddy laugh escapes me. I lean back in my chair, looking at the rows of cards. Enjoy the quick cash, Ryan. I whisper into the quiet of the room. In 20 years, you'll be buying these back from me at 1,000 times what you sold them for, and it will be my pleasure to sell them to you. The first piece of my museum, I think, is already taking shape. And the first exhibit? My charming, clueless brother. 3 weeks. 3 weeks of living this strange déjà vu existence. 3 weeks of biting my tongue every time Ryan says something smug. Of fighting back tears every time Mom hums her off-key tunes in the kitchen. I've been a model daughter, a quiet sister, observing, planning. The grief for the life I lost is still there, a dull ache in my chest, but it's overshadowed by a fierce, burning determination. My plan needs a catalyst, a little nudge to set Ryan on the path I've chosen for him. It comes in the form of a well-placed magazine. I accidentally leave Collector's Monthly open on the coffee table, conveniently turn to an article titled Kids Play or Serious Investment: The Rising Value of Trading Cards. It's a generic piece, nothing groundbreaking, but it plants the seed. I see him pick it up later that evening, feigning disinterest. He skims the article, his eyebrows rising almost imperceptibly. The next day, he casually wanders into my room while I'm organizing my collection. "What you doing, Maymay?" he asks, peering over my shoulder. "Just looking at my cards," I reply, keeping my voice neutral. That magazine said some of these things can be worth real money." He picks up a common card, a Goblin Scout, and flips it over. "This one any good?" "Not really," I say. "But some of them are." I point to a moderately rare Griffin Knight. "This one, people are starting to look for. It's good in a new deck type." This is true, even in 2005. A little knowledge goes a long way. He lingers for a few more minutes, asking a few more questions, his interest clearly piqued. The bait is taken. Phase 2 of the setup, highlighting the family's financial strain. It's not hard, I just have to listen. Mom and Dad have hushed conversations at night, the words mortgage, overtime, and tight drifting through the thin walls. In my first life, I was oblivious, cocooned in my childhood world. Now, those words are like alarm bells. At dinner a few nights later, I innocently ask, "Mom, are we having money problems? I heard you and Dad talking." Mom sighs, exchanging a look with Dad. "Things are a little tight right now, honey, but nothing for you to worry about." Her smile is strained. Dad just stares at his plate. Yes, they are struggling. Just like before. This is my opening. A week later, Ryan approaches me. Predictable. "Hey, Maya." He starts, all false sincerity. "You know Mom and Dad are kind of stressed about money, right?" I nod, looking down at my shoes. "Yeah, I heard them." "Well," he continues, "I was thinking. You've got all those cards. You don't really play with them much anymore. Maybe we could sell a few to help out?" There it is. The exact same line he used before. They're just childish things, really. I look up, meeting his eyes. This is where the script changes. In my first life, I argued. I cried. I eventually caved. This time, I give him a small, hesitant smile. "You think they're worth something, Ryan? Enough to help?" He's visibly surprised by my easy agreement. Yeah, totally. Some of those rare ones? We could get some good cash." "Okay," I say softly. "Okay, I'll do it, but on a few conditions." Ryan grins, relieved. "Sure, Maymay, anything." He probably thinks my condition is an extra scoop of ice cream after dinner. The next afternoon, I present him with my terms. First, a ledger, a brand new spiral notebook. "We have to write down every card you sell, Ryan," I explain, my voice serious. "What it is, what condition it's in, and what you think it's worth before you sell it." He rolls his eyes. "Isn't that a bit much?" "And," I continue, ignoring him, "we need to write down who you sell it to and for how much. And I get 60% of whatever you make. You're doing the work, so you get 40% for your effort." "60?" he scoffs. "Come on, Maya, 50-50. 60, I repeat firmly, and I'm the one giving up my collection. He grumbles, but eventually agrees. "Fine, 60, whatever." Then the piece de resistance. I pull out a sheet of lined paper on which I've carefully handwritten a contract. It's simple, phrased in language a kid could understand, but legally I hope it will hold water. It states that Ryan is acting as my sales agent, that he agrees to the 60-40 split, and that he will provide a full accounting of all sales. And then, the clause I'm most proud of. Maya Johnson retains full spiritual ownership of the Mythic Realms trading card collection. While physical cards may be sold, the essence and history of the collection remain hers. Ryan bursts out laughing when he reads it. Spiritual ownership? What is this, Maymay? Are you starting a cult? He thinks it's a joke, a silly game. It's important to me, I say, trying to look earnest. These cards have sentimental value. He shakes his head, still chuckling, but he signs it. Ryan Davies, agent for Maya Johnson. His signature is a sloppy scrawl. "We need a witness," I declare. Mom is in the kitchen. "Mom, can you sign this? It's for a school project." I lie smoothly. "It's about business ethics. Ryan is helping me with the practical part." Mom looks it over, a puzzled expression on her face at the spiritual ownership bit, but she signs it. Martha Davies, witness. Perfect. And so it begins. Ryan, armed with a shoebox of my less valuable cards, I'm not letting him near the big hitters yet, starts making the rounds. Local comic book stores, flea markets, even a small regional convention Dad drives him to. He's surprisingly good at it, his natural charm, when he bothers to use it, working on unsuspecting buyers. I, meanwhile, become a shadow accountant. I make him fill out the ledger every evening. I cross-reference his sales with online prices. Dial-up is slow, but eBay exists even in 2005. And I secretly start taking photos. When he arranges to meet a buyer at the park, I'm there, hidden behind a tree with a cheap disposable camera. When he sells a card at the comic store, I happen to be browse nearby. These photos, these blurry, grainy images of cash exchanging hands, of cards being passed to strangers, they are my insurance. The first time he tries to cheat me, it's almost comical. He sells a mystic elf for $15, a decent price for it then, but tells me he only got $5. Sorry, May, guess it wasn't as rare as we thought. I just smile sweetly and pull out the ledger. Really? Because Mr. Henderson from Heroes and Hobbies called earlier. He said he paid you $15, and I have this. I show him the slightly out-of-focus photo of the transaction, Ryan's hand clearly pocketing a 10 and a 5. The color drains from his face. He stammers, makes excuses, but the evidence is irrefutable. He reluctantly hands over my $9. "Don't do it again, Ryan," I say, my voice quiet but firm. This has to be fair. He doesn't meet my eyes, but he doesn't try to cheat me on the percentages again. He still underreports sale prices occasionally, but I catch him most times. He's learning, slowly and painfully, that his little sister isn't such an easy mark anymore. My share of the money goes into a metal lockbox I bought at a stationery store, the kind with a flimsy little key. It's hidden under a loose floorboard in my closet, a trick I learned from a detective novel. Inside the box, alongside the growing pile of cash, are copies of every ledger page, the signed contract, and the developed photos. Each entry, each photo, is a brick in the foundation of my future. One night, after stashing away another small wad of bills, I close the lockbox. The faint scent of old wood and new money fills the small space under the floor. This evidence, I whisper to the darkness, will be Exhibit 1 in my museum someday. And you, dear brother, will have paid for its creation, one $50 sale at a time. A shiver, not of cold, but of anticipation runs down my spine. The game is well and truly afoot. Section 3, the knowledge, 3 years. Blink, and I'm 15. Ryan is 18, a newly minted adult, full of swagger and cheap cologne, ready to conquer the world, or at least the state university 2 hours away. The Mythic Realms collection, my beautiful, treasured collection, is gone. Sold. Every last common, uncommon, and rare. Well, almost every last one. Tucked away in the bottom of my lockbox, nestled amongst the cash and the incriminating documents, are 3 cards. 3 pristine, professionally graded slabs now protect the Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition, the Starfire Phoenix, and the Abyssal Leviathan. I'd swap them out early on, replacing them with less valuable but visually similar cards from a different, far less popular game. Ryan, in his haste and ignorance, never noticed. These 3, the crown jewels, they were never part of his little sales venture. They are mine, my secret, my seed capital for the empire to come. These 3 years haven't just been about watching Ryan fleece himself for my future benefit. My adult mind in a teenage body has its advantages. School is a breeze. I absorb information like a sponge, particularly in subjects that bored me to tears in my first life. Business studies? Economics? Suddenly fascinating. I see the patterns, understand the theories with the clarity that astounds my teachers. They call me a prodigy. I just call it experience. The money from the card sales, my carefully guarded 60%, hasn't been sitting idle. Oh no. With the internet slowly becoming more accessible, I've become a teenage day trader, albeit a very cautious one. My future knowledge is my unfair advantage. Apple in 2006? A no-brainer. Amazon? Still primarily an online bookstore to most? I pour money into it. Google? Yes, please. I'm not greedy. Small, strategic investments. The kind that won't raise eyebrows but will steadily grow my little nest egg. It's a stark contrast to my first life. Then, college was a struggle. Working 2 part-time jobs, drowning in student loans, eating instant noodles 5 nights a week. Mom was sick by then, and Dad was stretched thin. There was no family support, no financial cushion. Just me, battling my way through, always feeling like I was one step behind. This time, college will be different. This time, I'll be the one in control. My interest in trading cards hasn't waned, despite selling my collection. It's just taken a different form. I tracked down some of the local collectors Ryan sold to, the ones who bought the more significant pieces. I approached them not as the original owner, but as Maya, the young enthusiast, eager to learn from their experience. They're surprisingly receptive. They see a bright kid, passionate about the hobby. They show me their collections, talk about grading, about market trends. I listen, absorb, and file it all away. I start a blog, Maya's Mythic Musings. It's simple, hosted on a free platform. I write about mythic realms, about strategy, about card lore, and, crucially, about valuation. I predict which cards are undervalued, which are overhyped. My future knowledge makes me seem like a savant. How does she know? A commenter asks after I correctly predict a massive price spike for the Sorcerer's Amulet promo card. The blog gains a small but dedicated following. I'm building a reputation, a network. I'm positioning myself. The inevitable confrontation with Ryan happens a week before he's due to leave for college. He's packing, haphazardly stuffing clothes into a duffel bag, when he stumbles upon my lockbox. I'd been careless, left it on my desk after updating my investment spreadsheet. "What's this?" he asks, jiggling the flimsy lock. "None of your business," I say, trying to snatch it away. But he's bigger, stronger. He forces it open. His eyes widen at the cash, then narrow as he sees the 3 graded cards. "What the hell, Maya?" He pulls out the Celestial Dragon. "You told me we sold everything. This is one of the big ones." "I kept a few," I say calmly, my heart hammering, "for sentimental reasons." "Sentimental." He laughs, a harsh, ugly sound. "These are worth a fortune. We could have sold these. Mom and Dad could have used that money." He's trying the guilt trip again. It's pathetic. "They're my cards, Ryan," I say, my voice cold. "And my money. And for your information, a good chunk of my earnings from the other cards went to Mom and Dad. Quietly, without any fanfare." Which was true. I'd been anonymously slipping cash into Mom's purse for months. He glares at me, his face flushed. "You little sneak. You've been playing me all along." "Playing you?" I almost laugh. "You were the one who came to me, remember? Selling my childish things to help the family." Then he shows his true colors, the venomous snake I always knew was lurking beneath the charming facade. "You know," he spits, "I only gave Mom like 20% of what I made from those crappy cards. The rest, expenses, my time, my effort. You think it was easy dealing with all those nerds?" My blood runs cold. 20%. He'd robbed us. Robbed Mom and Dad, robbed me. Even knowing his character, the audacity, the sheer greed is breathtaking. "You piece of—" "Ryan, Maya, what's all this shouting?" Mom appears in the doorway, her face etched with worry. She heard. She heard his disgusting admission. The tension in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife. Ryan looks from me to Mom, a flicker of panic in his eyes. He tries to backtrack, to stammer out an explanation, but the damage is done. Mom just looks at him, her expression a mixture of disappointment and a dawning, painful understanding. Ryan leaves for college a few days later. There are no tearful goodbyes, no heartfelt hugs. Just a strained silence, a chasm of unspoken accusations and broken trust. Good riddance. That evening, Mom comes into my room. She looks tired, older than her years. She sits on the edge of my bed, her gaze falling on the three graded cards I've placed on my nightstand. Are they? Are they really that valuable, Maya? She asks softly. I pick up the celestial dragon, its black scales seeming to shimmer in the lamplight. This one, Mom, I say, my voice filled with a certainty that reassures her. This one is just the beginning. These aren't just cards. They're the first pieces of my future museum. She looks at me, a strange expression on her face. Confusion, worry, but also a dawning flicker of pride? Or maybe just a mother's unconditional love for her strange, intense daughter. A museum, honey? Yes, Mom, I say, smiling. A museum, and it's going to be magnificent. She doesn't understand, not really, but she will. They all will. 5 years fly by in a whirlwind of textbooks, lectures, and late-night stock market tracking. I'm 20, a junior in college, double majoring in business administration and art curation. An unusual combination that raises a few eyebrows but makes perfect sense to me. My investments, nurtured by my future knowledge and a healthy dose of an old soul's caution, have grown exponentially. I'm not a millionaire yet, not by a long shot, but I'm comfortable, secure, a world away from the ramen noodle existence of my first life's college days. And I've started the quiet, patient process of buying back my Mythic Realms collection. The market hasn't exploded yet, not in the way I know it will. Prices are still reasonable for most cards, especially if you know where to look, who to talk to. My blog, Maya's Mythic Musings, has become a respected voice in the community. My young enthusiast persona has evolved. I'm now seen as a savvy collector, someone with an uncanny knack for spotting undervalued gems. The sellers Ryan so carelessly dealt with years ago, some of them are now my contacts, my suppliers. They don't know they're selling my own cards back to me. The irony is delicious. Then, the news I've been dreading, the news I've been preparing for, hits me like a physical blow. Mom's cancer. It's back. Or rather, in this timeline, it's arrived. Earlier than before. My careful calculations, my attempts to subtly alter her diet, encourage more exercise, none of it was enough to stop the inevitable. But this time, things are different. This time, I have resources. My investment money, the profits from my carefully hoarded cards, they aren't just numbers on a screen anymore. They're a lifeline. I researched the best oncologists, the cutting-edge treatments, things that were so far out of reach in my first life they might as well have been on Mars. We fly Mom to a specialized clinic in another state. There are no hushed, worried conversations about bills this time, no desperate bake sales or GoFundMe pages, just the best care money can buy. The doctors are cautiously optimistic. The early detection is key, Maya, Dr. Ramirez tells me, her voice kind but professional. And this new experimental therapy, it shows great promise. Hope. It's a fragile, fluttering thing in my chest, but it's there. A hope I never had before. Just as we're settling into a routine of hospital visits and anxious waiting, Ryan reappears. He shows up on Mom's hospital doorstep, all feigned concern and puppy dog eyes. I came as soon as I heard, he says, rushing to Mom's bedside, clutching her hand. I'm here for you, Mom, whatever you need. He lasts about a week. The veneer of the devoted son cracks quickly. He's not here to help. He's here because he's in trouble. He dropped out of college. It wasn't for me, he says vaguely, and he's broke. He sniffed out the money. He sees the private room, the top-tier doctors, my designer handbag, a small indulgence, a reminder of how far I've come. His eyes gleam with a familiar predatory light. He starts subtly at first. Maya, you're handling all this so well, he says, laying it on thick. But it must be a lot of pressure, all these financial decisions. You know, as the older sibling, I'm happy to help. Take some of that burden off your shoulders. Then he tries to go through Mom. He finds her alone one afternoon, weak from a chemo session. Mom, he says, his voice dripping with false sympathy. Maya's doing so much, but she's still so young. Maybe you should give me power of attorney, just to help manage things? Make sure everything is taken care of properly? I walk in on this charming little scene. Mom looks confused, exhausted. Ryan is leaning in, his face a mask of oily solicitude. The rage that washes over me is cold, precise. Get away from her, Ryan, I say, my voice dangerously quiet. He jumps, startled. Maya, I know what you were just. I cut him off. I've seen this before, Ryan. This exact move. You're trying to get your grubby hands on money that isn't yours. Again. His eyes widen. What are you talking about? Seen this before? For a split second, I'm tempted. So tempted to tell him everything. About the rebirth, about the cards, about the years of his deceit I've already lived through, but I bite it back. He wouldn't believe me. He'd think I was crazy. And it would deflect from the issue at hand, his current despicable behavior. It doesn't matter, I say. What matters is that you're not getting a penny, and you're not going to upset Mom like this again. Later, when Mom is resting, I sit down with her. Gently, carefully, I lay it all out. Not just Ryan's current maneuvering, but the past. The ledger, the contract, the photos, the 20%. I show her the meticulous records I kept, the proof of his deceptions from years ago. She cries, silent tears of disappointment, of a mother's pain at seeing her son's true nature. I guess I always knew, deep down, she whispers, her voice hoarse. He was always selfish. Ryan doesn't get access to my finances. He doesn't get to play the hero. Instead, he gets an ultimatum from Dad who, for once, puts his foot down. Get a job. Contribute to Mom's medical expenses, which I'm largely covering, but the principle matters. Or get out. Ryan, faced with actual consequences for the first time in his life, grudgingly finds a menial job. He moves back home, sullen and resentful, a dark cloud in an already stressful household. Meanwhile, I juggle. Mom's care is paramount. Countless hours in hospitals, coordinating appointments, researching side effects, just being there, holding her hand. But I also continue to build. My network in the collectibles world expands. I'm buying more, trading strategically, my reputation growing. The vision for the museum, once a distant dream, is slowly taking shape in my mind, becoming more concrete, more real. One afternoon, while waiting for Mom to finish a radiation session, I get a call. It's from a prestigious auction house in New York. They've heard of me, of Maya's mythic musings, of my supposed Midas touch with rare cards. They have a small collection they need authenticated, a few potentially valuable pieces. Would I be interested in consulting? I sit there in the sterile quiet of the hospital waiting room, the phone pressed to my ear, a slow smile spreading across my face. The future, it seems, is arriving right on schedule. Yes, I say, my voice calm, professional. Yes, I would be very interested. This is more than just a job. It's a glimpse, a preview of the life I'm building, stone by meticulous stone, card by precious card. And it feels good. It feels like winning. 3 years, another blink, another leap forward. I'm 23, Mom is in remission. The words still feel like a miracle, a fragile gift I'm terrified of breaking. The experimental treatment, the one my carefully cultivated finances made possible, worked. She's not the same, of course. The cancer, the chemo, they've taken their toll, but she's alive, she's here, and that's all that matters. My degree is framed and hanging on the wall of my small but chic apartment. I'm no longer just Maya the blogger or Maya the consultant. I'm Maya Johnson, junior authenticator and acquisition specialist at Hawthorne's, one of the most respected auction houses in the country. My dream job, or at least a stepping stone to my ultimate dream. The buying back of my original Mythic Realms collection has accelerated. The market is heating up just as I knew it would. Prices are climbing steadily. My future knowledge is still my ace in the hole, allowing me to snag key pieces just before they hit their peak. My old lockbox is long gone, replaced by a secure vault at the bank. My personal collection, the one I'm reassembling piece by painstaking piece, is now worth a small fortune. And Ryan? Ryan, it seems, has turned over a new leaf. Or so he claims. He's held down a steady job manager at a local electronics store. Not glamorous, but respectable. He helps Mom around the house, drives her to follow-up appointments. even remembers her birthday without prompting. He's different, quieter, more considerate, or maybe just better at hiding his true nature. I'm skeptical, a lifetime of his manipulations etched too deeply to be easily erased. But for Mom's sake, I'm cautiously optimistic. Maybe, just maybe, he's finally grown up. With Mom stable and my career at Hawthorne's flourishing, I decide it's time. Time for the next step. I secure a modest bank loan, combine it with a significant chunk of my savings, and lease a small storefront in a trendy, up-and-coming neighborhood. Maya's Mythic Treasures, the sign will read, a boutique gallery specializing in high-end trading cards, rare collectibles, and pop culture artifacts. It's a risk, a big one, but it feels right. When I tell the family, Ryan is surprisingly enthusiastic. "Wow, Maya, that's amazing," he says, his eyes wide with what looks like genuine admiration. "A real business. You always were the smart one." He offers to help. "I know a bit about retail now, with the store and all. I can help you set up the website, manage online orders, deal with customers. Whatever you need." I hesitate. Every instinct screams, "No!" But then I look at Mom, her face glowing with pride. She wants us to get along, to be a family. And Ryan? He seems sincere. Maybe he deserves a chance to prove he's changed. "Okay, Ryan," I say slowly. "Okay, we can try." I assign him specific, relatively low-stakes responsibilities. Website maintenance, social media updates, handling initial customer inquiries. Nothing that gives him access to the financials or the high-value inventory. He dives in with an energy I haven't seen from him in years. The website looks professional. The Instagram account gains followers. He's charming with potential clients. For a while, it actually works. Opening night of the gallery is a modest success. A small crowd of local collectors, friends, and curious passersby. A few key pieces from my reacquired Mythic Realms collection are on display, tastefully lit, drawing admiring gazes. Mom is beaming. Even Dad cracks a rare smile. Ryan plays the part of the proud, supportive brother perfectly, schmoozing with guests, pointing out the highlights of the displays. For a fleeting moment, I allow myself to hope. Maybe this is it. Maybe we've finally turned a corner. The illusion shatters a week later. I'm doing a late-night inventory check, cross-referencing sales with stock. Something isn't adding up. A few mid-tier cards, valuable but not irreplaceable, are missing. And then I check the gallery's email account. Buried in the sent folder are messages from Ryan using the gallery's official address, negotiating side deals. He's been selling gallery stock directly to his own contacts, pocketing the cash, and using the gallery's reputation, my reputation, to lend legitimacy to his shady transactions. He's also been subtly overcharging on shipping for online orders routed through him, skimming a few dollars here and there. It's not a huge amount, not yet. But it's the betrayal, the calculated deceit, again. The confrontation is quiet, brutal. I call him into the gallery's small back office. I lay out the evidence, the inventory discrepancies, the printed emails, the doctored shipping receipts. He doesn't even try to deny it. "So?" he says, a defiant glint in his eye. "It's just a few cards and a little extra on the side. What's the big deal? You're making plenty." "The big deal, Ryan," I say, my voice trembling with suppressed fury, "is that you stole from me. You lied to me. You used me. Again." "Used you?" He laughs, that same ugly, dismissive laugh from years ago. "I discovered you, Maya. I was the one who saw the potential in those stupid cards in the first place. If it wasn't for me selling them, you'd still be just a kid with a dusty binder. I deserve some credit. I deserve a piece of this." The sheer, unadulterated audacity of it takes my breath away. He hasn't changed, not one bit. He was just waiting for a bigger pot, a more significant opportunity to exploit. My cautious optimism shatters into a million jagged pieces. The fool. I was the fool for ever believing, even for a second, that he could be anything other than what he is. "Get out," I say, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. Get out of my gallery. Get out of my business. And if you ever try to associate yourself with me or anything I build again, I will use every piece of documentation I have going all the way back to that first little contract you laughed at, and I will bury you in legal fees. Am I clear? He sees the look in my eyes, the absolute, unshakable resolve. He knows I mean it. He sputters, tries to argue, but the fight goes out of him. He slinks out of the office, out of the gallery, out of my life. Again, Mom is devastated. Disappointed, yes, but this time, not surprised. I guess some people just don't change, do they? She says, her voice heavy with a sorrow that breaks my heart. She finally, truly, sees Ryan for who he is. The manipulative, selfish boy who never quite grew up. The next day, I call a sign maker. Maya's Mythic Treasures is no more. The new sign, when it arrives, is bold, defiant. Phoenix Collection, rising from the ashes. It's more than just a name change. It's a statement, a promise. This gallery, this business, it's the foundation. The first crucial step towards the museum. And like a phoenix, I will rise from the ashes of my brother's betrayals. Stronger, more determined than ever. He may have tried to burn me, but he only fueled my fire. 7 years. It feels like a lifetime, yet it's passed in a blur of hard work, calculated risks, and unwavering focus. I'm 30 now. The Phoenix Collection isn't just one small gallery anymore. It's 3. Prime locations in 3 major cities. Each one a sleek, modern temple to the art of collectibles. A testament to the booming market I saw coming a decade and a half ago. The trading card world has exploded. Mythic Realms, once a niche hobby, is now mainstream, a multi-billion-dollar industry. Cards that Ryan sold for $5 or $10 are now fetching thousands, tens of thousands. And my original collection, the one I've painstakingly expensively reassembled, is now complete, or almost complete. It sits in climate-controlled vaults, insured for a sum that would make my 12-year-old self faint. It's worth millions. Plural. Mom's health is stable. The cancer is still in remission, a quiet miracle we count our blessings for every day. She lives comfortably in a nice little house I bought for her, surrounded by her garden and her books. The stress lines that once etched her face have softened. She's happy. And that, more than any financial success, is my greatest achievement. The time is right. I've built the foundation, accumulated the capital, cultivated the connections. It's time for the museum. Not just a gallery, but a proper, dedicated institution. The Museum of Collectible Game Arts. MACA. It has a nice ring to it. I secure funding, a mix of my own wealth, private investors who believe in my vision, and even a few arts grants. I find the perfect building, a beautiful old bank in the heart of the city, its grand architecture a fitting home for the treasures it will house. The centerpiece, of course, will be my original Mythic Realms collection. Each card displayed not just as an object of value, but as part of a story. Its journey. From a young girl's treasured possession, through the hands of her manipulative brother, out into the world, and finally, back home. It will be a testament to passion, to perseverance, and to the enduring power of nostalgia. News of the museum project leaks. First local, then national. The collectibles market is at an all-time frenzy. A museum dedicated to trading cards? It's quirky, it's timely, it's a guaranteed headline. The media loves it. My face is on magazine covers. I'm giving interviews, doing talk shows, suddenly a reluctant celebrity in a world I helped create. And then, predictably, Ryan reappears. He doesn't call, he doesn't email. He just shows up at the construction site of the museum, a hard hat perched awkwardly on his thinning hair. He looks rough, older than his 35 years. Lines of bitterness and failure are etched around his eyes and mouth. He's clearly struggling financially. The manager job at the electronics store is long gone. He's drifted from one dead-end gig to another, leaving a trail of burned bridges and missed opportunities. He sees the scale of the operation, the bustling workers, the grand plans pinned to the walls. His eyes, those same greedy eyes, light up with a desperate, grasping hope. Maya, he says, his voice a little too loud, a little too forced. This is incredible. You're really doing it. Yes, Ryan. I say, my voice cool, professional. I'm not surprised to see him. I've been expecting him. I am. You know, he continues, puffing out his chest a little. I always knew those cards were special. I was the one who saw their potential, remember? I helped you get started. I was your first business partner, really. I just look at him. The sheer, unmitigated gall. He wants credit. He wants a handout. He wants to rewrite history. Ryan, I say, my voice calm, I have documented the entire journey of this collection. Every sale, every transaction, every conversation, including your unique contributions. I lead him to a section of the planned exhibits where mock-ups are displayed. There's a panel titled, The Genesis of a Collection. And there, in replica, is the handwritten contract he signed all those years ago, the one he laughed at. There are copies of the ledger pages, his sloppy handwriting detailing the paltry sums he earned. There are even some of those grainy, blurry photos I took of him making his deals. The narrative is clear, a young girl's passion, exploited by a short-sighted brother who sold treasures for pennies on the dollar. His face pales. You can't put that in a museum, he stammers. That's private. That's slander. Is it, Ryan? I ask softly. Or is it the truth? A truth you signed your name to. I tap the replica of the contract. Remember the spiritual ownership clause you found so amusing? My lawyers find it quite compelling. It gives me the right to tell the story of my collection in its entirety. He looks cornered, trapped. He tries to bluster, to threaten. I'll sue you. I'll tell everyone what a manipulative bitch you are. Go ahead, Ryan, I say, my voice like ice. Make a scene. The media is already fascinated by this story. Your little outburst will only add another colorful chapter, but I doubt it will be the one you want. He deflates. The fight goes out of him. He looks around at the grand, empty space, at the promise of what it will become. And in his eyes, for the first time, I see not greed, not anger, but a flicker of something else. Regret? Envy? Or maybe, just maybe, a dawning understanding of what he threw away. I was always jealous of you, you know, he mutters, his voice barely a whisper. Even when we were kids. Those cards, they were your thing. You loved them so much, and I just wanted to wreck it, or take it. I don't know. It's the most honest thing he's ever said to me. It doesn't excuse anything. It doesn't erase years of deceit. But it's something. The museum opens in 6 months, Ryan, I say, turning to walk away. Don't expect an invitation. I leave him standing there, a small, pathetic figure in the vast, echoing space of what will soon be my triumph. I walk through the nearly completed halls, past the empty display cases, the freshly painted walls. My footsteps echo in the silence. I stop before a large, central alcove, where a single, specially designed, climate-controlled case stands empty. It's waiting for the final piece, the crown jewel of my original collection. The one card Ryan sold that I haven't been able to reacquire. The Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition. It's out there somewhere. And I will find it. The museum, my legacy, won't be complete without it. The hunt is still on. The opening of MAGA is weeks away. The buzz is palpable. Advanced ticket sales are through the roof. Curators are meticulously placing the final exhibits. The air hums with a mixture of excitement and last-minute panic. Everything is perfect, almost. That one empty display case in the Mythic Realms Hall haunts me. The space reserved for the Celestial Dragon Onyx Edition. My scouts, my contacts, everyone in the high-end collectibles world has been alerted. Find me that card, price is no object. Then the email arrives. From a trusted source at a rival auction house, professional courtesy still exists sometimes. Maya thought you'd want to see this. Lot 247, upcoming sale, looks familiar. My heart leaps. Attached is a low-resolution image, but there's no mistaking it. The unique holographic foil pattern, the subtle off-centering I remember from my childhood card. It's him, the Onyx Dragon. The estimate? $1.80, $2.5 million. It's poised to break records, and I need it. The timing is almost too perfect. The auction is scheduled for the week before Maka's grand opening. It's a sign. It has to be. A few days later, my assistant buzzes me. Maya, your brother's here to see you. He says it's urgent. Ryan. I haven't seen him since that day at the museum construction site. I almost tell her to send him away. But curiosity, and a sliver of something I can't quite name, makes me say, send him in. He shuffles into my sleek, minimalist office, looking even more down on his luck than before. His clothes are rumpled, his eyes bloodshot. But he's trying to project an air of confidence, of having something I need. Maya, he says, his voice a little too eager. I heard about the auction, the dragon card. What about it, Ryan? I ask, my tone neutral. I know the seller, he says, leaning forward conspiratorially. We go way back. Small world, huh? He tries a weak smile. I can talk to him for you. Maybe get you a better price. You know, behind the scenes. Save you a bundle. Suspicion, cold and sharp, pricks at me. Ryan, the helpful negotiator? Ryan, looking out for my financial interests? It's laughable, but the card, I need that card. Oh, I say, feigning interest. That's surprisingly helpful of you, Ryan. Tell me more. He launches into a convoluted story about an old poker buddy, a down-on-his-luck collector, a private deal. It's full of holes, inconsistencies. But I let him talk. I nod, ask a few seemingly innocent questions. By the time he leaves promising to work his magic, I know he's lying. But I also know he's involved, and that gives me an opening. I hire a private investigator, discreet, expensive, and very, very good. Within 48 hours, I have the truth. Ryan isn't working for me. He's working with the seller. Or rather, he's working for a cut. He approached the current owner of the Onyx Dragon, a reclusive tech billionaire, after hearing it was going to auction. He spun some sob story, probably involving me, and convinced the billionaire to let him act as an unofficial liaison, promising to help drive up the price by creating a bidding war, with Ryan getting a percentage of anything over the reserve. His plan, no doubt, was to use my desperation to own the card to inflate the bids, then swoop in with his insider connection to make the sale, looking like a hero while pocketing a fat commission. Classic Ryan, always looking for the angle, the shortcut, the con. Instead of confronting him, I decide to play his game. Let him think he's in control. Let him think he's finally outsmarting me. The day of the auction arrives. The sale room is packed. Collectors, investors, media. The air crackles with anticipation. I arrive with Mom on my arm. She insisted on coming. I was there when you got your first pack of those cards, Maya, she said. I want to be there when you get the last one back. I also bring a discreetly carried briefcase, filled with my documentation. The original ledger pages showing Ryan sold the card for $50. Photos, affidavits from other collectors, the full provenance. Ryan is there, of course. He's with the seller's official representatives, looking smug, important. He gives me a subtle nod, a conspiratorial wink. I ignore him. Lot after lot goes by. Modern art, antique jewelry, rare wines. Then, finally, lot 247, the Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition. A hush falls over the room. The auctioneer begins his spiel, extolling its rarity, its condition, its legendary status. The bidding starts high and climbs rapidly. $1 million, $1.20, $1.50. Ryan is practically vibrating with excitement, whispering animatedly to the seller's people. When the bidding reaches $1.9 million and the auctioneer is about to bring the gavel down, I stand up. Excuse me, I say, my voice clear and steady, amplified by the microphone I requested. Before this auction proceeds, I have something to say about this particular card. All eyes turn to me. The auctioneer looks annoyed. Ryan's face goes white. This card, I begin, is more than just a collectible. It's a piece of history, my history. I tell them the story of a 12-year-old girl who treasured her collection, of an older brother who convinced her to sell it piece by piece for a fraction of its worth. I tell them about the Celestial Dragon, sold for $50 by that same brother. I tell them about my journey to reclaim every single card, to build a museum, to celebrate the art and passion of collecting. This, I say, gesturing to the onyx dragon displayed on the screen, is the final piece. The one that got away. The one I've been searching for 15 years. I open my briefcase. I present the evidence, the ledger, the photos, the irrefutable proof of the card's origin, its journey. The room is silent, captivated. The media are scribbling furiously. The current owner, the tech billionaire, is watching the proceedings via a live video link. His face, projected on a side screen, is a mask of embarrassment and dawning fury. He had no idea about the card's true backstory, about Ryan's duplicity. He thought he was just selling a valuable asset. Now he's part of a public spectacle, his reputation potentially tarnished by association with Ryan's sordid little scheme. He speaks, his voice amplified through the auction house speakers. "Stop the auction," he commands. "Miss Johnson, I was unaware of these circumstances. My apologies. Perhaps we can discuss this privately." Ryan's scheme implodes. Publicly, humiliatingly. He tries to say something to defend himself, but the billionaire's representatives silence him with a look. He shrinks back, his face a mask of disbelief and dawning panic. The private negotiation is swift. The billionaire, eager to distance himself from the fiasco, is more than reasonable. I acquire the Celestial Dragon Onyx Edition for a price significantly below its estimated market value. A small price to pay for the restoration of his reputation and for the satisfaction of seeing Ryan's plan crash and burn. There's one condition. The seller and his immediate family receive lifetime free admission to Maka, a fair trade. Later that evening, back at the museum, the halls are quiet, bathed in the soft glow of the security lights. I walk to the Mythic Realms exhibit. I unlock the special display case. With trembling hands, I take the Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition, from its protective slab. It feels right, like a missing piece of my soul slotting back into place. I carefully place it on its velvet cushion. The lighting catches the holographic foil, making the dragon seem to writhe and shimmer. It's home. The collection is complete. The journey, in this respect, is over. I stand there for a long time just looking at it. A 12-year-old girl's dream, a 30-year-old woman's triumph. The circle is closed. And tomorrow, the world will see it. Museum opening day, it's a media circus. Cameras flash, microphones are thrust in my face, reporters shout questions. Maka is the talk of the town, a cultural phenomenon before its doors even officially open. The story of the Celestial Dragon, the auction drama, it's all added to the mystique, the allure. The main exhibit, the Phoenix Collection, A Collector's Journey, is a masterpiece. It tells the story of my Mythic Realms cards, from their humble beginnings to their multi-million-dollar valuation. Ryan's role is there, presented factually without unnecessary cruelty. The ledger, the contract, the photos, they're all displayed not as instruments of revenge, but as part of the narrative. A cautionary tale about recognizing value, both monetary and sentimental, before it's too late. The critics are raving. A deeply personal and surprisingly moving exploration of passion, betrayal, and redemption. One review gushes. The crowds pour in. Collectors, gamers, art lovers, families. They're fascinated by the cards, by the artwork, by the sheer nostalgia of it all. But they're also captivated by the story, my story. Mom is the guest of honor. I present her with a special gold-plated permanent membership card. Martha Davies, founding collector. After all, she bought those first starter packs all those years ago. She's beaming, tears of pride in her eyes. It's one of the happiest days of my life. And then, of course, Ryan shows up. Uninvited, unannounced. He swaggers towards the VIP entrance, expecting to be waved through with a smile and a handshake. He's wearing a new, slightly too shiny suit. He's clearly hoping to bask in some reflected glory, to salvage some shred of dignity from the wreckage of his public humiliation. Security stops him. "Name, sir?" a polite but firm guard asks. "Ryan Davies," he says, puffing out his chest. "I'm with Maya Johnson, her brother." The guard checks his list, shakes his head. "I'm sorry, sir, you're not on the list." Ryan's face flushes. He starts to argue, to cause a scene. "Do you know who I am? I practically built this museum." I approach, calm and composed. Ryan, I say, my voice soft but carrying in the sudden lull. What are you doing here? Maya. He turns, a forced smile plastered on his face. There you are. Tell this gentleman who I am. I know who you are, Ryan, I say. And you're not on the guest list. Everyone else who was involved in my collection's journey, the original buyers who sold the cards back to me, Mr. Henderson from the comic shop, even the auctioneer who sold the Onyx Dragon, they all received lifetime free admission. A thank you for their part in the story. I pause, letting my words sink in. You, however, Ryan, will always have to pay. His jaw drops. Pay? To get into my own sister's museum? My museum, I correct him gently. And yes, your admission price, should you choose to enter, is $1,000 per visit. $1,000? He squawks, incredulous. The nearby media contingent, sensing drama, surges forward, cameras rolling. That's outrageous! That's a ripoff. Is it? I ask, my voice still quiet. Consider it a symbolic price, Ryan. A tiny fraction of what those cards you sold for $50 are worth today. A small reminder of the value you failed to recognize. He's caught. He can pay and tacitly admit his short-sightedness. Or he can leave and confirm his status as the villain of the piece. He glares at me, trapped, humiliated, his new suit suddenly looking cheap and ill-fitting. Then, Mom intervenes. She steps forward, her expression a mixture of sorrow and resolve. I'll pay for him, Maya, she says softly. Just this once. So he can see. So he can understand what his choices cost him, what they cost all of us. She takes out her wallet, extracts 10 crisp $100 bills, and hands them to the stunned security guard. Ryan stands there, mute, as the transaction is completed. He looks like a man being led to his own execution. Reluctantly, he enters. I watch him walk through the exhibits, his shoulders slumped, his eyes darting around as if expecting an ambush. He sees the Mythic Realms display, each card meticulously labeled, sold by Ryan Davies, 2005 to 2008 for original paltry sum. And beneath it, in bold, clear type, current estimated market value, staggering figure. The cumulative effect is devastating. It's a monument to his greed and ignorance. He lingers the longest in the final room. It's an interactive exhibit I designed myself. The what-if machine. Visitors can scan replica cards from their childhood, and the machine calculates what their collection would be worth today if they'd held onto it. It's a playful, engaging way to teach about the power of long-term investment, of recognizing hidden value. For Ryan, it's a torture chamber. Now, the last image I have of him that day is standing before the Celestial Dragon, Onyx Edition. The real one. The one he sold for $50, now insured for over $3 million. A museum guide, a bright young intern, is enthusiastically recounting the card's incredible story to a group of visitors. The tale of the clueless brother, the savvy sister, the dramatic auction. The guide has no idea that the man standing right there, pale and shaken, is the brother from the exhibit. The irony is almost too perfect. He turns, makes eye contact with me across the crowded room, a look of utter, abject defeat on his face. Then, he walks away, disappearing into the throng. 1 year later, MAGA is a landmark, a global destination for collectors, gamers, and the simply curious. It's exceeded all expectations. We've expanded, adding new wings, new exhibits. I've launched educational programs using the allure of collectibles to teach financial literacy, art history, even basic economics to kids and adults alike. Know Your Worth, the program is called. It's a subtle nod to my own journey. Mom is thriving. Her official title is Honorary Founding Collector and Chief Morale Officer. She spends her days wandering the museum, chatting with visitors, sharing stories of buying those first Mythic Realms packs for her card-crazy daughter. Her health is good, her spirit bright. Seeing her happy, truly happy, is the greatest reward. Ryan has been a ghost, not a word, not a sighting since that humiliating opening day. I haven't sought him out. There's nothing left to say, nothing left to prove. Then an unexpected letter arrives. Plain white envelope, no return address. His handwriting, that familiar sloppy scrawl I remember from the contract he signed as a teenager. I almost throw it away. But something makes me open it. It's short, surprisingly so, and for the first time, devoid of excuses, of blame, of manipulation. It's an apology, a real one. He acknowledges his actions, his greed, his jealousy. He doesn't ask for forgiveness. He just states the facts, his facts, as he finally, belatedly sees them. He tells me he started collecting cards again, cheap ones from a new game. He's trying to understand the passion, the joy he dismissed so easily in me. He's trying to find some small piece of what he threw away. The letter ends with a single, hesitant question. That $1,000 admission fee, is it for life? I find myself in a therapist's office a few days later. Dr. Evans is a kind, insightful woman who specializes in, well, people with unusual life stories. I tell her everything. The first life, the heart attack, the bills. The rebirth, the cards, Ryan. The museum, the revenge, the strange, hollow victory. It all comes pouring out, a torrent of grief and anger and triumph and confusion. This second chance, Maya, Dr. Evans says, her gaze steady, it wasn't just about the cards, was it? Or even about Ryan? I shake my head. No, I thought it was. For so long, I thought it was about getting even, about proving him wrong, about reclaiming what was mine. But the museum? It's become something more. It's about passion, about community, about preserving these little pieces of art and history. And Mom, giving her those extra years, that peace of mind, that's priceless. And Ryan? Dr. Evans prompts gently. What do you want to do about Ryan? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Forgiveness? It's a complicated word. Can I forgive him? Should I? After everything? I decide to invite him to the museum, a private tour after hours, just him and me. He arrives looking nervous, uncertain. He's lost weight. He looks smaller. I don't mention the letter. I just walk him through the exhibits, talking about the art, the history, the artists. He listens, really listens, for the first time. He asks questions, intelligent questions. He sees the joy on the faces of the children in the photos from our educational programs. At the end of the tour, I hand him a small laminated card. It's an admission pass, not free, but not $1,000 either. It's a standard staff-level access card. There are conditions, I say, meeting his gaze. Once a month, you volunteer. You help with the kids' program. You teach them about collecting, about patience, about recognizing value. Not just in cards, Ryan. In everything. He looks at the card, then at me. There are tears in his eyes. Real ones this time. Why, Maya? He whispers. After everything I did. Because, Ryan, I say, a small, tired smile on my face. Some treasures take more than one lifetime to appreciate properly. And maybe, just maybe, everyone deserves a chance to learn. The final scene isn't a grand confrontation. It's quiet. It's a Saturday morning, a few weeks later. I'm watching Ryan, a little awkward, a little hesitant, but undeniably earnest, showing a group of wide-eyed 10-year-olds how to spot a counterfeit Mythic Realms card. He's talking about condition, about rarity, about the joy of the hunt. He's good at it. He has a knack. Maybe he always did, buried deep beneath layers of resentment and greed. The museum's newest exhibit is being installed in the main hall. Second Chances, it's called. It features stories of collectors who lost priceless treasures only to reclaim them or find new ones years later. Stories of redemption, of passion rediscovered. I watch a young girl, no older than I was when I first fell in love with Mythic Realms, carefully examining a card through a magnifying glass, her face alight with concentration and wonder. I whisper to myself, a truth that has taken me 2 lifetimes to understand. Sometimes you have to lose something to truly understand its value. But if you're very lucky, you get a second chance to make it right. And maybe, just maybe, that's the greatest treasure of all.